Hello guys, this is What About Nintendo, and today I'm back with another News of the Day video. And these videos are going to be starting, just letting you guys know, oop, my chair did something weird there real quick, sorry about that. Just letting you guys know, I will be doing these at least 3 times a week. If there is enough news, I will be doing them once every day, Monday through Friday, but a lot of times there isn't enough news to make an entire video, so I'll be doing it at least 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays when I'm going to try to do it. I might do Tuesdays and Thursdays as well, if there's enough news, but sometimes there just isn't, so that's going to be the normal schedule. Hopefully I can stick to that, and I know it's Tuesday, so this week's kind of starting weird, but most of the time it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with Tuesdays and Thursdays if there's enough news. But let's get right on into it, because today there's actually a pretty good amount of things to talk about. So first off, we're going to start off with one of my most anticipated games of this holiday season, and that is Super Mario Odyssey. And of course, everybody knows this game is going to be amazing, but there were some unknowns about exactly, resolution, final frame rate, just how it will run, just some graphic things, and of course, that is what pretty much Digital Foundry loves to do. They love to go in there, figure out what the resolution is, figure out, differences between portable mode and docked mode, and we got all that kind of stuff in their latest video on Super Mario Odyssey. So I'm going to run through the facts here for you guys. So it's going to be 900p locked when docked. This is not going to be a dynamic resolution. This will be a locked 900p, which is good because before, when they originally showed it off, and even at E3 and stuff, it was in 720p. And like when they showed off, Splatoon 2 and it was 720p, and they upgraded that to a dynamic 1080p, they've upgraded Mario Odyssey from 720p to a locked 900p, which is really good. In fact, it has the best resolution of any of the 3D Mario games so far, and it will be 720p locked in portable mode as well. So it is a locked 60 FPS docked in portable with barely any frame drops. Now there are a few frame drops here and there of 1 to 2 frames in a split second, 1 to 2 frame drops sometimes when text boxes pop up. Every once in a while it would drop 1 to 2 frames, but nothing that's noticeable, and it goes away really quickly. So pretty much you're never going to notice any frame drops, and it's practically locked 60 FPS. Also, the cutscenes, for some reason, run at a lower resolution when portable. It's interesting, because the portable runs at a full 1280 by 720, a full 720p, but when the cutscenes are initiated, it cuts the horizontal resolution in half, while keeping the vertical resolution the same at 720p, which is interesting. It's just something to note, something just interesting that happens. Probably you won't notice it too much, but it's just something that happens when the cutscenes go on. There are also improvements to bloom and depth of field and different things like that, and draw distance is improved when docked, but it's not something you really notice that much on the smaller screen either. There's also the shadow quality is better when docked than in portable mode. Actually, the shadows are really good when docked, but they go to a lower resolution when portable, which makes sense. Of course, as I said, there's better draw distance when docked, and there's no anti-aliasing in this game, which I'm fine with, just because anti-aliasing tends to make the image quality look blurrier, and at 900p you don't really need the anti-aliasing as much, but it could look kind of jaggy like in the city level with all the buildings, a lot of straight edges there, so that might look a little bit jaggy, but overall, I think not having any anti-aliasing isn't that big of a deal. It would have been nice for some of the areas, like the City Kingdom. It's fine for most of them, since they're pretty round edges overall. There is some pop-in on both the portable mode and docked mode. Of course, it's worse in portable mode, but overall, it's nothing huge, and you probably won't notice it that much, even in portable mode. So that's pretty good there. And photo mode, is some reason, is 30 FPS instead of 60 FPS, but that is actually because the draw distance is greatly enhanced, where they actually load everything in, and there's practically no draw distance when in photo mode, while there is in the normal mode, causing it to be 60 FPS. But overall, Mario Odyssey is a masterpiece of engineering on the Switch, with the highest resolution and frame rate of any of the Mario games so far, while besting out them all in graphical fidelity at the same time. I mean, Super Mario 3D World, 720p 30 FPS. It was a pretty good looking game. Mario Odyssey looks way better than that, runs at 900p and 60 FPS. So there's a big jump from the previous generation of games, even from the Wii U to the Switch, is a huge jump in graphical fidelity, not only in resolution and frame rates, but just in texture qualities and geometry, all kinds of stuff. Just so many things happening, and just it looks so much better than 3D World on the Wii U just a couple years ago. So overall, I'm really happy with what we're seeing, both on the technical side of Super Mario Odyssey and, of course, on the gameplay side as well. But let's move on to the next topic, kind of a short one. Pretty much just letting people know that Sonic Mania patch is rolling out. That adds, you know, a more smooth experience going into the Switch home menu. Because, of course, before, as many people who own Sonic Mania know, when you were going from the game into the home menu, it kind of like slowed down and had some weird glitches and stuff that would happen, and apparently, according to the Sonic Hedgehog team, that is going to be fixed in an upcoming patch. That should be out very soon. They didn't say exactly when, just very soon. Just a short little update there for that. And the next topic is something that I found very interesting. Apparently, Best Buy have already sent some SNES Mini consoles out early. Not a bunch, mind you, just a couple of them. And somebody is showing pictures and evidence that they got SNES Classics earlier than expected. Now, this has happened before with various retailers and video games. Typically, though, it doesn't really happen that much with consoles. Usually it happens with the actual games itself, which are much easier to make that mistake. It doesn't really happen with consoles that much, so it's interesting that Best Buy actually sent out SNES Minis early. Of course, it isn't as big a console as, say, like the Switch or the PS4 or the Xbox One. It's just kind of like this retro, you know, console. It's not really as big a deal as those consoles, but it's still interesting that they're sending out consoles early, something that doesn't really happen nearly as much as games and stuff. But apparently people are showing off pictures and stuff proving that, hey, we got the SNES Mini early before it launches this Friday, which is, I mean, it's cool for them, but also I know the feeling when you pre-order a game or you pre-order something and then somebody else gets it early and you're like, dang it, I wish that could have been me. Like, I want to get stuff early. You know, everybody wants to get stuff early. So, I mean, it's probably going to make a couple people salty. A couple people are like, oh, those idiots who got that early, screw them. But overall, I just found it interesting. I was just like, better talk about that. It's just an interesting thing. Another short topic for you, and that is that Bethesda has confirmed that Doom will not have gyro aiming or gyro controls for the Switch version of the game, which I just found interesting because you think it would. Skyrim, which is a game that you do not associate with motion controls, like Skyrim is not really a game that would benefit that much from motion controls, and yet it has motion controls, and it's just like really simple, really basic, like motion controls. And it's just like, why does that have motion controls, but the Bethesda's other game, Doom, which would make sense, especially with people on the Switch who like motion controls. There's a lot of people who play like Splatoon 2 and they like motion controls like me, and that'd be a good reason to get, another good reason to get it on the Switch instead of on like the PS4, the Xbox One, or the PC, but yet it doesn't have motion controls. It's just something that I found interesting. It's just like, I mean, it's not a deal breaker, but I feel like it would have been nice to include the option of motion controls, because that's something that the Switch can do that other consoles can't. It's just something that's there, and other consoles... Technically, the PS4 does have gyro controls in it, but it's never really used, and it's not as good tech as is in the Switch Joy-Cons and the Pro Controller, so they could have done it as well, just not as well. But apparently, they just didn't feel like that was something they needed to do, so you can just use the normal dual-stick controls, which isn't a big deal. It's just something I thought I'd let you guys know. And the next one, another short one. A lot of really short just updates here. And that is that Golf Story has finally got a release date for the Nintendo Switch. And that will be this Thursday, September 28th. in, I think, all regions. I think it's in America, Europe, and Japan. But don't quote me on that. All I know is for sure it's coming out in North America on the 28th. I'm pretty sure it comes out in Europe and Japan at the same time. But don't quote me on that. Look it up for yourself. But yeah, so this is coming really quick. Of course, we knew it was coming by the end of the month, and we just didn't know exactly when. I kind of suspected it to be coming this week, considering, like, the month's almost over. So I'd expect it to come out Thursday or Friday, and it did, so interesting. Golf Story is a game that I'm kind of looking forward to. I don't know if I'll pick it up, but it's something that kind of, I don't know, just, you got my interest. You know, I just kind of look at it and go, oh, that could be a cool game. So I don't know, I might pick it up. But I know a lot of people are looking forward to it. So if you're one of those people, that will be coming this Thursday, September 28th. Another short little news update is just some things we learned about LA Noire for the Nintendo Switch. We learned about some frame rates and stuff like that, so I'll get into it. The game will be priced at $50 or around that. I'm going off of how it's priced in Japan, which is 5,389 yen, which is approximately $47, but in America it would probably be closer to 50. In fact, it's probably just going to be $50. 47 isn't, I mean, they don't really go with those prices. It's usually like 50, 40, 30, you know, they don't really go with like 47. It's not really something they do, so it's probably going to be $50 in America. It's going to include all 5 downloadable content packs that were in the 360 and PS3 versions for free. It will have gyro controls, and it will have a touch mode when removed from the dock. It will be playable in 1080p in TV mode and 720p in portable mode, and Rockstar is going to release a trailer for the game very soon. All good things. 1080p, of course, is the highest resolution docked, and 720p is the highest undocked, so we're getting the highest resolutions possible on the system. I mean, it is pretty much just a remastered of a last generation game, so that makes sense. So it's nice to see that we're getting the gyro controls and some kind of touch mode as well. I don't know exactly what that is, but it's gonna be $50, 1080p, 720p, gyro controls, and touch mode. So all good things. Hopefully that trailer comes out soon, like they're saying, and we can see some gameplay. Although I'm not sure if it will be gameplay of the Switch version. Maybe they'll show off gameplay of the Switch version, the PS4 version, and the Xbox One version. I don't know. Or maybe they'll just come out with a trailer for the PS4 version or something like that, and maybe they'll show off Switch footage later. Not exactly sure, but hopefully we'll be getting that soon. And then on to the final topic, which is probably going to be the longest topic here. I'm going to try to go a little short on this because a lot of stuff to talk about today. I don't want to make this video too long. But that is just that Sony doesn't see Nintendo's hybrid console concept as a huge market opportunity, which doesn't make much sense to me. But before I talk about my thoughts, let's read exactly what Sony had to say. And they said the Nintendo's device, or the Switch, is a hybrid device, and that's a different approach and strategy. We have not seen this as being a huge market opportunity. The Vita experience was that outside of Japan and Asia, there was not a huge demand. The lifestyle shift towards the dominance of smartphones as the single key device that is always with you was the determining factor. That draws me to the conclusion that they've already been additive to the business in the last year or so. The folks at Nintendo have their strategy, and that's great. We remain focused on a highly connected gaming experience, and also coupled with having a great range of other entertainment experiences, so you can reach multiple people on the big screen in the household. It's pretty much what this means to me is they don't feel like they need to make a portable device. And now a lot of people were rumored, we heard about that big thing that was supposed to go down the Sony conference. Never happened. People thought it might be, a new Sony handheld to combat with the Switch, which kind of would make sense, but I don't think it would have been announced right now. It kind of would have been a weird timing, but people thought it might be. And I even thought it might be, so I'm not like trying to push that blame on other people. I thought it might be as well. But it seems that Sony's not really interested in making a handheld right now to compete with Nintendo. They think it's something that's not a huge market. I disagree. I think the Switch is going to sell a lot. We already see the demand is extremely high in all regions. Even in Europe, where Nintendo usually does bad, they're in second place typically every month. Not quite as good as in the other consoles regions where they're in first place every month, but Still, that's a win for Nintendo in Europe. They never do good there. But I think it's going to do great. I think there's the fact that iPhones can't do everything the Switch can do. There's a lot of things that iPhones they can't do that gaming consoles can do. And I think people recognize that. Even though a lot of people just like to play on their phones, there's also a huge group of people, millions and millions of them, who still like to play on consoles. So I don't really see it as bombing like the Vita. Also, I do not think the Vita bombed because of smartphones. To be honest here, if the Vita bombed because of smartphones, then the 3DS would have bombed as well. Handhelds are not dead. The 3DS sold over 60 million consoles. I'm pretty sure they're approaching 70 million at this point. They sold ridiculous numbers. Like, it's not the iPhone market, it's just your crappy device with the stupid proprietary memory that costs an arm and a leg for like 32 gigs. That's why. And just because you didn't produce games for it, Sony, maybe if you'd actually cared about the Vita and produced some games, then people would have bought it. And pretty sure it's not supposed because of iPhones, because then don't you think the 3DS would have bombed too? These people just don't make sense to me. It's just kind of like, oh, we failed, so Nintendo probably will fail as well. Except Nintendo's device is way better than the one you made. They're making way more games on it. It can do way more things than the one you made. And people actually are buying it up like hotcakes. So, I don't know what Sony's thinking over here, that the Nintendo Switch will bomb, or that it just won't affect the PS4 or Sony in any way. I think that's wrong. I think the Switch could affect Sony in many ways. Maybe not, yeah, I mean, it's not going to overthrow the PS4 anytime soon, but it could have big implications for, say, a PS5, or if they want to do another handheld eventually, so it's not like it's unaffecting Sony, and I think their approach of it, just kind of pushing it off like, it's not going to do anything to us, could be dangerous for them. And I actually like Sony, so I don't want them to just, like, turn a blind eye to what's happening and, just go off rails. Because I actually like Sony, I have a PS4, and I like their content. So I don't want them to go away. And I don't want them to make any mistakes or push off any of the competition as, that's just Nintendo doing whatever they're going to do. Because it can affect you, Sony, and you know it. Deep down, you know it. Anyways, guys, that's all for today. We had a very long video, almost 20 minutes long, in fact. But good, I came back. It's been a while. I wanted to make this a little bit longer since I haven't done one in a while. Most of them will still be the normal 10 to 15 minutes, so don't worry about them getting as big as this one. This one's just bigger because I haven't done them in a while, and hopefully I can stick to that 3 days a week schedule. I'm going to be working way harder to get that. I'm so sorry for missing so much. I really just started getting lazy, to be honest. I started getting lazy, and that won't happen again. Hopefully, as long as Nintendo keeps supplying the news, I am going to be dedicated to keep supplying videos, and I think, hopefully I can promise that you guys can count on that. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this 3 days a week. And of course, I live stream gameplay Monday through Friday, so make sure to subscribe for that as well if you enjoy that type of content. And I'll see you guys later on What About Nintendo. Bye!